In this unit, we want to look at both financial and non-financial control mechanisms, things that as a manager you will encounter in all kinds of organizational situations. Businesses in particular tend to control finances very, very closely. Businesses are about making profits, about earning money, so they spend a lot of time controlling money in various ways. Non-business organizations may be less interested in money, but all organizations need mechanisms to control their non-financial activities as well. And we're going to look at both of those. So a financial control is any mechanism you use to control, to manage your money. Money in, money out, what you're spending, what you're earning. If it has to do with dollars, it is probably a financial control tool. And here are some of the most common financial control tools. We've already talked about budgets and how they allow you to compare your planned spending to your actual spending. Cash flow statements, those monitor the money in and out of an organization, profits and losses, what you spend and what you earn. A balance sheet is a quick snapshot that shows you the financial situation of your business at a single point in time. A break-even analysis is a way to determine whether or not you're making a profit. And finally, productivity analysis is anytime you look at what comes into your business versus what goes out of your business, and you compare them. This is an attempt to measure your efficiency in different ways. Productivity analysis can be a financial control or it can be a non-financial control. So take a quick look at break-even analysis, which may be something you're not familiar with. This compares total revenue, revenue over time, all the money that has come in on a particular project or activity, and all the money that has gone out, everything you've spent and everything you've earned. The idea is to know, when have you broken even? When do those two numbers equal each other? So as we look at this, money in rises over time as we begin to earn revenues. Total costs also rise over time, and for a while we're operating in the loss zone. But one day we cross the break-even point, and at that point profits begin for this project. We have paid off all of our investments, and now the money that we're earning is a profit. That's what break-even analysis tells us, when we're making a profit. If we look at productivity ratios, they compare outputs to inputs. If those are expressed in terms of dollars, how much we've spent on something versus how much it's returned to us when we sold our product, then that's a financial control. But it can also be measured in other ways. We can here, for example, in a factory, we might measure the amount of fabric as a raw material that we buy and bring in, as compared to the amount of fabric as a finished product that we sell and deliver to customers. Any difference where we're bringing in fabric that we don't then send out to a customer, that represents waste. So in this case, a productivity analysis would be a non-financial control, one that is examining manufacturing waste. If we look at some key non-financial control tools, quality control really is when we look at the product we are building and compare it to the standards for a perfect product. Are we building the product in the right way? Performance reviews are when we look at individual employees. Are they performing in the right way, or do they need to change their performance? Customer satisfaction is often collected in terms of surveys, in terms of interviews, or customer response cards. We're asking our customers to give us feedback. Are they satisfied? Are we serving them in the right way, or do we need to make changes to return to our track? Schedules. In earlier units, we looked at scheduling tools like PERT charts and Gantt charts. These are tools that help us manage time instead of money. And then finally, from our example, we looked at waste management. Non-financial control tools can tell us if we are wasting resources and help us stop that waste. So when we talk about quality control, remember, it's adhering to a standard for output. The output is how the product is built. Are we building things the way we should, or do we need to make changes? Typically, quality control in manufacturing operations is tracked and assessed through a fairly complex set of statistical tools, which generically are called statistical process control. Now, one thing to remember before we close, when you're comparing things, very large things to very small things, when you want to know which of my operations is the most efficient, and I compare a very large operation to a small operation, I usually need to set up ratios in terms of my numbers so that I account for the difference in absolute size in the things that I compare. So often organizations will build very specific ratios which allow them to compare very big things to very small things in important ways. These are the primary control tools that you will encounter as a manager, both financial and non-financial. I encourage you to read the associated chapter for this module, and I encourage you to look at the questions that we've associated with this and try and answer them on your own. If you have any questions about financial or non-financial control tools, I encourage you to review this video as often as you like.